Hello everybody. One of the questions you've probably been asked by friends and family is, why are you going into social work and what is a social worker anyway? A parallel question to that is a question you'll explore in this course, Integrated Practice for Social Justice, and really throughout your entire foundation curriculum. What's a social work identity? And really, what's a social work identity to you? We could talk about that in the abstract, but I think it's better for our purposes if we look at some Colorado examples, particularly of how this particular school got started. So we want to go back to 1920, which is really a watershed year, and a number of really landscape-changing events happened in the United States. The first was the 18th Amendment to the Constitution gets established, beginning of the Prohibition era. Alcohol is outlawed. The second is the extension of voting rights to women. Although in Colorado, if you happen to notice, Colorado actually had the voting rights for women in city and state elections as early as 1893. And the last major event is what is called the Red Scare. This is after the communists come into power in Russia. Tremendous fear that communist agents or socialists or their sympathizers are going to come to the United States and are going to overthrow the government. And so tremendous paranoia, lots of fear. The Attorney General of the United States are saying we're going to deport all these people. And lots of conflict and unrest in society. Behind all of this conflict is labor unrest. You see on this map nationwide conflicts between capitalists and monopolists and railroads and coal and oil, and people who are working for them for very low wages who are attempting to unionize and getting tremendous pushback from the capitalists who are essentially trying to break the strikes. And many of these conflicts resulted in unionists and their families being killed, including in 1914, the famous or infamous Ludlow Massacre, in which the state militia fired on an unarmed camp of union organizers and their families, and 11 children were killed. So this is the political climate nationwide and in Colorado. At the local level here in Denver, we have a city of about 250,000. We have a lot of conflict related to transportation kinds of issues. The Denver Tramway Company is essentially trying to break the workers who are trying to strike and unionize. What ends up happening is that federal troops have to be called in because of the rioting and destruction of property, and 7 people were killed, 52 people were injured. This is a big deal in Denver. And on top of that, we have the, quote, roundup of those suspected red radicals. We're going to ship them out of here and deport them. So all of this is going on. Where are the social workers in all of this? One of the things that you can see here is most of the schools of social work are located east of the Mississippi, and just 2 over here on the west coast. The whole Rocky Mountain region is barren, and so you have all of these private agencies and public bureaus of charity that are essentially not staffed by professionally trained social workers. In addition to that, in Colorado, in the 1920s, you have a horrible political climate. The Ku Klux Klan becomes a national political force, particularly in Indiana and in Colorado. The governor is an open Klan member, the mayor of Denver is a secret Klan member, but this is not the Ku Klux Klan of the Civil War era. This is anti-Catholic, anti-Jewish, and particularly anti-immigration. And morally, one of the things that he does, one of his first acts is he eliminates the State Bureau of Charities, and he fires essentially the first professionally trained social worker in this era. So this is the climate in which people began to try for over a 10-year period to establish the School of Social Work here in Denver. One of the things that you will explore through your readings in this first session is whether or not social work is a profession that's meeting human needs, or are we a profession that advances human rights. And you can see from this quote from Gertrude Valey, the first professionally trained social worker in Denver, that she saw public welfare services as not just benefiting the individual, but as really something to strengthen democracy and enhance liberty and justice for the individual and for society as a whole. So this is a comment that begins to suggest that we are not either or, but we begin to integrate the two.